To order for the Janesville Community Development Authority regular meeting on Wednesday, May 17th, 2023. Jennifer, if you could do roll call, please.
Benjamin Dobson.
Here.
Wendy Baumgartner.
Here.
Heather Miller.
Here.
Sarah Williams.
Here.
Michael Cass. Michael Jackson.
Here.
Michael Miller.
Here.
And then I don't know why I'm on here as well, but it's showing here.
All right, thank you. 2 and 3 minutes of regular meeting held in March and budget performance report, February 2023 will be approved by consent unless any CDA members would like to pull them for questions or comments. Okay, doesn't look like anything. Requesting comments from the public regarding items on the agenda, not requiring a public hearing, and on matters which can be affected by CDA action. Any requests or comments?
Not lined up.
No,
out there.
not yet. They're probably downstairs still. Okay. So no comments, written or otherwise, so. We'll move on to number 5, election of chair and vice chair of the Community Development Authority. So we can kind of do this whatever works best. We can do nominations. You can nominate yourself. We'll probably just do them separately, and then we can vote on them. So does anybody want to volunteer for either of those positions?
Who's our current vice chair?
Been very impactful, as you can see.
Can I nominate the current leadership?
You can.
I am.
Okay. So then we have a nomination for, it would be myself and Wendy, so chair and vice chair. Any other nominations? All right, so do we have to like formally accept that then, and then we vote? Jennifer, I forget.
No, it would be like a motion
Okay.
to appoint, and then a second, and then you would vote.
Okay, so do you want to do a motion then?
Yes.
Okay.
I make the motion to elect Wendy as our vice chair, and your name is slipping my brain right now.
Ben.
Ben as our chair of the CDA for the upcoming year.
I would second that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Are we going to do a voice vote, or are we going to do it on here?
However you would like. I can call the roll.
Let's call the roll.
Okay. Wendy Baumgartner.
Yes.
Benjamin Dobson.
Yes.
Michael Miller.
Yes.
Sarah Williams.
Yes.
Michael Jackson.
Yes.
And Heather Miller.
Yes.
All in favor.
All right. Well, I guess we accept then, Wendy. All right, thank you. Okay, so then we move on to number 6. Kelly will present on this, review and action on the 2024 CDBG and home annual action plan schedule. Kelly.
Seems crazy that we're already talking about 2024, but as you know, we have to start our 2024 planning early in this year so that we can have everything done and into HUD, and to the city council for budget timeframes. So if you look on page 2 of the memo that was written by Carrie, here is your calendar for this year. Please note in particular that August 23rd special meeting. As you recall, each year our public service requestees will do a presentation. Typically, we don't make decisions that night, and you carry over until that following week. So that would be a special meeting to make sure that you have on your calendar. Both that August 16th and the August 23rd meetings are probably some of the more important ones that we do all year. Happy to answer any questions about any of those, and we would need a motion to accept the calendar.
All right.
I
Go
would
ahead.
make a motion to accept the calendar for August 16th and the 23rd of 2023.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. We'll do a voice vote again.
Okay. Benjamin Dobson.
Yes.
Michael Miller.
Yes.
Sarah Williams.
Yes.
Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Heather Miller.
Yes.
And Wendy Baumgartner.
Yes.
It passes. Thanks, Kelly. Thank you. Okay, so we will move on to the fair housing report, and Kelly is up again.
So each year we do a fair housing report to the CDA. All of our federal grant dollars are contingent upon us doing things to further fair housing. So what you have in the first document is comes from our goals from our affirmatively furthering fair housing document. A mouthful, but basically it's just our goals and our plan for furthering fair housing. So if you take a look, you can see the goals, you can see that what we've done in 2022, just some of the things I would like to highlight. One of them is to improve tenant housing provider relations. The city advocated for funding from the county to support legal assistance to tenants. That tends to be one of the things that is a need in our community and a shortfall. Most folks who are lower income can't afford an attorney on their own, so legal action is that attorney. So we advocated for that funding, and now there are 2 legal action attorneys who are housed inside ECHO and are available for drop-in hours, which is really nice for folks to not have to wait months. Oftentimes, they won't come to seek advice until their court date is next week. So it's nice to have them here in
Just a
town.
quick question. Do they serve all of Rock County, or are those attorneys for Janesville issues?
I think they're all of Rock County, I believe. Otherwise, folks can call the regular number, but I believe they're all of Rock County. The other thing I wanted to highlight is a eviction work group that we participated in with legal action to have a conversation with our local judges in reference to evictions. Typically what had happened was, bless you.
Thank you.
What had happened would be someone would come in for an eviction, they would immediately have to go to a hearing if they contested the eviction. Now there is a delay in that. That happened during COVID and it still continues to this day, so there's a bit of a delay so that tenants can go and get their documents in order, get their witnesses in order, that kind of thing. So it's been beneficial to have that, at least that delay, so that they can prepare. And then just a couple other things. We do have a bilingual individual in our office that has been instrumental in reaching our populations and having conversations. I have no idea what she says to them other than thank you at the end, but it's been very helpful to have her in our office. We also, at any event that we're at, we make sure that we have fair housing materials there just in case someone has a question, and we can distribute those documents. So I would be happy to answer any fair housing questions that you may have. Otherwise, we don't need a motion on this one. It's just a report for your information.
Just one question. Are you seeing the cost of materials going down at all? I'm just looking at the rehabilitation piece, and I mean, I know it's just kind of nationwide, but I'm just curious if...
No, we're not seeing the cost of raw materials going down. What we are seeing is at least there's availability, which we didn't have for a very long time. There were times where, for example, you couldn't get a refrigerator for 4 months. At least now you can go out and purchase some of those things, but I'm not seeing the cost falling, unfortunately.
Any questions from anybody up here? Okay. Thanks, Kelly. Yeah. We'll move on to Neighborhood and Community Services Director's Report, and trifecta, Kelly again.
And this is by no indication of a change in anything. Jennifer just happens to be running the computer tonight, so, and I can't do that. Just a couple things to update you on. We do have one of our rent assistants, housing specialists, who will be retiring from the city after a lot of years of service. I don't know exactly how many, but we do have that position is now open and on our website, so we'll be hiring a new rent assistance housing specialist. Our other one has just about a year under her belt, so we'll have 2 pretty green housing specialists, unless we bring in somebody who has that experience. And then, unfortunately, I have to report that the affordable housing project that we were working on the south side for the 48 units did not receive tax credit financing. We're still in conversations with that developer, but his gap to make that project happen seems pretty insurmountable at this point. So we will keep doing our best, but at this point, it doesn't look like that project is likely to happen, unfortunately.
Is that the project right, or is that
No.
another one?
No, this is a much smaller one. This was with Horizon Development. They were working on a 48 unit on Hyatt's, or, was it Hyatt, Jennifer?
We have a Hyatt one, but I don't think
It's not that one, though. It's right by the job center, a block away from the job center.
South of the resource center, yeah.
Yeah. So it was a good project. They had a nonprofit who was on board to occupy a small office in there for supportive services. We had multiple city funding sources that were earmarked for that project. But if WEDA doesn't award those tax credits, it's kind of a deal killer. So
Kelly,
unfortunately,
do we know
that's-
specifically what, if it was there one particular issue, or was it a multitude of?
So, long story short, WEDA came out with some new guidelines at the very tail end of last year, which actually pushed out the application process. Prior to this new guidance, there were 3 census tracts in the city of Janesville that were considered qualified census tracts, or QCTs. Those included 1, 3, and 10. So 10 is a majority of the south side of Janesville. When those QCTs get a 10-point score, so all of these applications are scored. When HUD came out with their new QCTs, they adopted those, which just happens to be 1 and 3, are the only QCTs in the city of Janesville. So they're the only ones that will get that 10 points, which is a significant amount of points on about a 200 and, we scored 207 on ours. The lowest one that got tax credits was 215. So if we would have had that 10 points, we would have gotten the project. So unfortunately, they took out Census Tract 10. We did not get those points for that, and then our points did not score high enough competitively for the 9% tax credit. Yeah, unfortunate for sure. And that's all of the sad news I have. You're welcome.
Well, thank you. Okay, thanks. CDA announcements. Announcements are limited to CDA member activities, memorials, non-political community events, and discussion of matters related to governmental business are prohibited. Any announcements from anybody? Okay. Oh, you have one?
Not currently.
Okay, perfect.
I got one in mind for the future, but it's not quite there
I'll
yet.
hold you to it, so, okay. Okay, if there's nothing else, then we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Just
Aye.
Aye. All right, done.